Hi everyone, I'm Piotr. I've been with Erlang Solutions for quite some time already, almost 15 years. And over all this time, I had an occasion to participate in quite many sales calls or meetings. And I decided that I would like to share a bit of conclusions that I came up with after all of these meetings. And maybe it will help you in spreading the word and selling the technology that we all love. The title of the presentation that you see here is a bit different because I wanted to begin with an example. We've met this gentleman, and we are selling cats. We are a cat salesman. He was born on Monday, as he was generated by ChatGPT on Monday, so he has no idea what cats are. So we want to tell him what are cats and how they can, help him in daily life, or whether he will like them. Maybe he won't buy a cat from us. So, we are a biologist, so we are experts on all kinds of animals, especially cats in this case, and we try to convince him by giving a description what cat actually is. Now please forgive me for my terrible pronunciation of scientific terms, but well, we start something like this. Felis catus is a terrestrial endothermic vertebrate within the class Mammalia and order Carnivora. It exhibits a standard tetrapodal configuration with 4 ambulatory appendages terminating in retractile claws, adapted for efficient locomotion and prey manipulation. Its integument is uniformly covered in keratinized filamentous structures, commonly referred to as fur, serving primary roles in thermoregulation and environmental interfacing. Do you feel convinced? You're convinced, okay.
I give too. We are running away.
Right, but my intention with this example is to show that, well, as a developers, at least some of us, we have this natural tendency to talk about the technology we love and want to promote with these specialized terms that we understand, but not necessarily everyone in the audience or the interlocutor could understand, because they doesn't necessarily have to be a tech person, for example. So I would like to suggest that there are better ideas how to promote a cat. So let me present you. Meet parówka, sausage in English. It's maintained by my junior developers. So, to the meeting with a potential customer, you can bring a prototype or, well, a diagram, well, you can call it a model. Yeah, especially, the model would be a right word. So we can tell that maybe the actual cat doesn't necessarily look or, well, it's not exactly built maybe like a real cat, this model, but still you can see 4 legs, nice tail, and eyes that are, well, centered, so it's a predator. It's nice to touch, especially. So, yeah, this one simple model, even if it's not perfect, already gives a lot of information to the potential buyer. And about the phrases I've read here that were absolutely not written by ChatGPT, and I actually skipped some of them because it would be very long, we can use some simpler terms. So I start with Felis catus a terrestrial, blah, blah, blah. It actually means simple thing that cat lives on a land and eats meat. Simple, everyone understands that. Next part of the text, I'm not going to read it again, but overall it means something as simple as, well, it's an excellent hunter. A bit more of that, another fragment. it has fur for protection, and this fur is nice, pleasant to touch. And last fragment, again, I'm not going to process every part of it. Cat sees well in the dark, so another important feature of a cat. So we can summarize everything that, that the potential buyer should know, at least at first, before you go into details, as this summary. Cat is a friendly, independent, and useful pet. It is relaxing to touch its soft fur and listen to its purring. It doesn't require frequent attention. It can keep your house mice-free. So with this example, I want to give you the idea that the main idea behind this whole presentation of adjusting the language that you use and the methods of presenting this, well, in our case technology, but it applies not only to the BIM technology, to the potential sellers that, well, everything must fit the target audience. What's more? You might be wondering why I use this image. Well, some time ago, I think it was 2015 or something, I was working for half a year for a customer in France, and I moved there with my whole family to Paris. And, well, we lived there. Just, well, it was not only work, but sightseeing and stuff, but also ordinary living. And we visited markets there. And it was the first time, actually, I saw merchants, sellers, how I call them, actually so engaged in the process of selling. I never actually seen it. I think, at least I don't think I've seen it in Poland, for example. They be so enthusiastic about the items they have, the stock they have. They reach out to you. They give you a free sample. They, even if they are not, even if they don't believe in their product, they seem to believe in their product. They're very confident about what they're selling. And it's another thing that I would like to convey to you. So overall, the feats of being a salesperson, evangelist, and partially smooth talker. And in order to achieve all of these feats and get to your customer, like with the free sample, hey, here's a mandarin orange, try it, it's great. And you don't talk about its biological features or exactly which plantation it came from. You focus on the important things about it, that it's tasty, it's juicy, sweet, and so on. And if we apply it to the technical terminology that we use daily, I would like to propose some examples of replacements for the language that we use on a daily basis when talking to other people that are not necessarily technical. We talk about distributed systems. Well, distributed can mean many things, but for example, the C-level people that are busy and not necessarily CTOs, the important thing is that what the technology we have can allow the application that they are building to grow easily with the user base. It's fault tolerant, so it actually, well, it can, we also know that what it means. But in practice, well, it translates, for example, into the higher customer satisfaction. Well, it's fault tolerant, so the application doesn't fail, doesn't go down often, so the customers, the end customers are happy because the application is always available. We have the lightweight processes, we have actor model in BIM, which is also a technical detail, and one of the benefits that would be meaningful to the business customer is that it's, for example, cheaper to serve the same traffic because, well, we have lightweight processes, they are easy to spawn and abstract certain things. They serve the request from the client, terminate, and so on. Well, you all know the benefits. I don't have to explain everything. Dynamic typing, well, one of the benefits, it's easy to prototype. So another business benefit is that we can create initial version of the application quickly and develop it faster later. We can reference to the pedigree of the language or technology, but it also doesn't have to be that interesting. What might be more interesting to the customer is where actually it's used, that it's used by major players, and you can give some names here. We'll actually get to that. Soft real-time. We can replace it by an example that they have an application with some message feed, maybe inbox or something, and that it simply means that this message or feed view will load more swiftly. Advanced inspection capabilities. We know that we can do everything in the Beam shell. And what is the practical meaning of this is that we can efficiently react to problems or just find out what's going on inside the system. We can promote Elixir as Ruby-inspired syntax. Well, if you're talking to a developer, it could be even a game changer, but overall, it means that it has lower barrier to entry. So it will be, for example, a valid argument that the existing developer team can reskill and use the new technology quite well. Let it crash, which is one of the favorite mottos, but it doesn't necessarily sound so positive to the people from outside the ecosystem. But it simply means that, well, we allow some parts to terminate well. Overall, it means that we are able to significantly reduce the impact of any failure on the whole system, so it's contained. Okay, these are just examples. You can come up with your own. All of this is simply an illustration of an idea that it's very worthwhile to come up with alternatives for technical buzzwords. I've also mentioned in the previous slide about being an evangelist. So it's also a bit about going outside the bubble because, okay, we arrived here, probably most of you are interested in Beam. We have Lambda days in a moment, so a great festivity for the functional languages. We have Code Beam conferences that are, well, from Beam technology. But what I'm proposing is to going outside of it and seek opportunities, maybe conferences, but not only, to present our technology or our world, our point of view, and how we solve problems, what we can create, and how well it works. And as an example, I tried participating in 2 gaming conferences. It wasn't easy because, personally, I know only about one major game that was developed in Erlang, I mean the game server, which was Battlestar Galactica Online, but it was killed by aggressive monetization. So it was because of the business decision, not because of the bad technology. But nowadays, well, I've learned a lot from these conferences because now I learned that nowadays, well, there are major engines that take care of the game state itself and the client side and so on. But there's a whole range of services behind that can be written with the technology that is scalable and responsive and fault tolerant, like authentication or matchmaking or ladders, messaging, and so on and so forth. So we'll see where this journey takes me in case of these conferences. Maybe these 2 weren't the last ones. Actually, also it's quite inspiring to see another point of view because the gaming conferences are interesting intersection of the artistic part and the engineering part. But well, that's probably a discussion after the presentation. But the bottom line is just try to spread the word not only with our nice, cozy bubble. So going to the key action points so far that can be derived from what I've said in the previous slides. Use positive language above us. So we have some of these if you dive too much into technical details, it's very easy to just consider edge cases and maybe talk too much about, well, maybe handling problems and so on. Just above us, show that technology can solve problems, and it was applied successfully in many applications, big applications. And with this positive message, focus what you as a consultant or as a company, as a team, pick whichever you like, you can do for your customer, that you can expand their product or develop something new. So instead of just trying to tell that, okay, we'll do it with Erlang, we'll do it with Elixir, with Gleam, whatever, focus on the fact that you as a team have great tools and great skill set to produce something efficient and stable and scalable and so on. But obviously, well, you wouldn't use this alternative language, let's say, while talking to an engineer. So it's very important to find the balance, because you have CEOs, but you also have CTOs. CTO can be very busy and don't have time to do the research, but will understand the technical terms. You have also sometimes developers in the sales calls. So I know it's easy to say, but simply put, you have to find this nice balance of find a nice balance between the language being detailed and technical and using this alternative approach and focusing on the benefits and the features that, well, all the good stuff that can be brought by your team. Spreading the word as well, that's what I mentioned a moment ago. So make sure that we are not just, again, we are not just attending or participating in the conferences that are about our technology. It's worthwhile seeking the opportunities elsewhere. And this is one of the quite important conclusions that I have from the gaming conferences. At first, they looked at me like I was like kind of freak. I mean, they were absolutely surprised that someone outside from the industry, working with some strange, niche technology, comes here and asks us about what he can do for us. So I was, well, it felt not really nice at first, but instead of just, well, of course the first reaction was to, I don't know, sit in the corner of some presentation room and just, well, think about leaving next day or something. But really, that was my first reaction, especially on the first conference. I was like, just thinking about just running away from there. But after having this first reaction, I called myself and actually tried to make out some information from this, let's say, failure, because it wasn't entirely failure. It was just strange reaction to my presence there. That was, well, something unusual. And the conclusions were where actually we can help and where we cannot. I had some assumptions when coming to these conferences, but they were validated and changed with the new information I got. Instead of dwelling on the failure, I changed my approach, and when going to the second conference, I actually had different message to deliver. So I wasn't just trying to convince someone to let us write game engine. I was trying to convince them to write some authentication system, maybe promote the messaging server that we have, and so on. Actually, I got one lead. Well, one is better than zero. So that's all about things that you can do on your own, but we usually don't work on our own. We are part of the team. And what we can do as a part of the team. Also when it comes to the selling and this alternative language, let's say. I'm not trying to tell you that knowledge sharing is garbage and you should throw it out, but I want to bring out a story that I told to my coworkers some time ago. I think it was like 3 years ago or something. I wanted to explain what actually I've done for the project. It was a migration from the very old, ancient version of a server. I can't say the name, sorry, but the name of the customer. But the aim was to migrate something that was very, very old to something to the modern version with adjusting all the customizations that they have, and with migrating the database and so on. And in order to do that, to explain to the non-technical colleagues what was done, I came up with a kind of a metaphor. So I told them that what we've done as a part of this project was that there was a very old house that was simply, well, falling apart in many places, and it was very much necessary to move everyone to a new shiny place. And well, we did that because we it was a very short downtime allowed, like 5 minutes or 10 minutes, something like that, for the whole operation. So it was like moving everyone, like including their properties, belongings, over one night. So quite an operation. And well, everything went relatively well. Where the new server started and it started accepting traffic. And there's a very strange thing happened. Actually, the resource usage was very, very high suddenly. And the actual reason was this lady throwing garbage. The policy of the customer was that they really want to maintain even very old client versions, even including those that have some design flaws or bugs. And one of these bugs was the fact that the client was really DDoSing server with certain requests. Fortunately, the new version of the server actually was so efficient enough that it handled these requests. So it wasn't critical, and we didn't have to roll back suddenly, but we had to do something about it. And when I investigated the matter, why actually it wasn't so bad earlier, I found out that they simply wrote an extension that dropped messages at certain rate from this client because they weren't actually valid requests, they were trash requests. So my comparison here that I told to my coworkers was that, okay, we moved everyone to the new house, but there is this lady that has a habit of throwing garbage out of her window. And the citizens of this house, instead of doing something like, I don't know, trying to get rid of her, maybe, or have a police or some manager, house management, whatever, just find them maybe, or, well, there are all kinds of things you can do. Or in the real world, well, they could simply ban these old versions of clients. But what they did, they simply put the dumpster next to the wall, exactly where she was throwing the garbage, and, well, my job is done here. It's okay. The trash that she's throwing out through the window is going straight into the dumpster, and that's fine. We don't have to worry. And it worked like this for years. And the point of this whole story is metaphors are cool, and they actually, I got the feedback that this metaphor was very understandable, let's say. That my colleagues understood what I meant and what was involved in such an operation, like migrating to the new server, even if they don't write Erlang on a daily basis. This also leads to another conclusion that I heard very long ago, that if you understand it, you can explain it. You can use all kinds of methods to explain it. It doesn't have to be 100% technically accurate to explain something to your coworkers or your customers. It's about, well, you cannot lie, but you can simplify things or use stories or objects or metaphors from, to the situations and objects from the real life. And why we actually do that? In case of telling all of these things to our coworkers. We want them to comprehend what we're doing, because when we are delivering a product or a service, consultancy, etc., to our customers, we work as a team. And if we give comprehension, which is actually a tool, we provide an essential tool to our colleagues, they can do their work as well and do it better, because they not only have this mindset or information skills from their area, like this, for example, the selling area or marketing, but they also actually understand what we are doing, and they can combine this knowledge, these two types of knowledge, to do their work. Besides knowledge sharing, I wanted to talk about the process itself. So yeah, the original title before I changed it was Selling BIM as a Developer. So it's about the process of selling. Documentation on the slide is the first element. Well, it will carry on throughout the whole process, but the bottom line is that we should begin with the documentation. It should include the original inquiry, so everyone understands the context better when throughout the selling process. It should include the meeting notes, quite obvious. When some meetings have happened and we have the context, we know roughly what the client wants. We come up with the suggested work items, we estimate them. Everything should be really provided in the documents. Also, what's valuable is the feedback, either after the calls or meetings, or even after the whole engagement, the whole project. We should have a feedback on conclusion. What went well, and if the sales was successful, why? If it wasn't successful, also why. But that, like I said, it spans throughout this whole process. Besides documentation, well, we have meetings. Here are the two important points that I want to tell about. Be one voice and be transparent. By be one voice, I mean fighting this urge that lives in a developer when one hears that a colleague on the call, probably could be non-technical, says something slightly inaccurate, and you just really want to fix what they're saying. Just say the correct thing. No, it's not. Well, it's not exactly like that. We cannot really do that. No. There is time for amending such statements or fixing them, explaining later after discussing it internally after the call. During the meeting, you have to be one voice. I'm not asking you, again, I'm not asking you to lie. I'm just asking you to agree with your colleagues after the meeting what was correct, what was not, and what can we do about it. Remember that all of these meetings are usually spoken. What's most important is what ends up on the work order. It might sound brutal, but that's the fact. But we also want to be transparent. We are using all of these nice words, that what we can do for the customer, that what technology, how it's great, and so on. But if they ask about anything, again, don't lie. If there's something not that great about your product, for example, be open about it. I mean, be honest about, for example, some tests that you've conducted, that maybe some feature is missing and needs development, because it will come up anyway at some point. So there's no point in lying or hiding stuff. You can omit certain things when telling about your product, but when asked directly, don't lie. Don't try to avoid the question. So yeah, like I said, don't undermine colleagues' competence. Another important point, if you don't know something, again, it's a part of transparency. If you don't know something, admit it and just say, I find it out for you. It's one of the key things usually taught at any sales trainings, I guess, or something. Well, it always works. It's a very rare case that someone knows everything immediately, all the time, on every call. And like I've said, shaping the message. You want to shape the message. You want to the client to know what you would like them to know. Describe the product, describe the technology, describe what the team can do, but don't hide the facts if you are asked explicitly about them. And well, let's assume that everything went well. Of course, it will go well. We have this short review step just before signing the contract. It's very important to review everything. Well, as developers, we don't have to understand all of these legal terms and understand every paragraph of the work order, work statement, whatever. But when it comes to this few paragraphs about what technically has to be done, we have to review it, because something can be lost in the process of discussion and speaking with the sales team, negotiation, and so on. Maybe, for example, the sales team may have slightly inaccurate information about the technology that the team can work with. Well, I can come up with other examples. Well, the overall idea is that if anything is at least slightly inaccurate, this is the time that it's important for you as a technical person to step in and say, okay, all of this is great, we just need to amend this one point because, well, technically, for example, we can do that, or it won't work, or it's not feasible in the proposed time, and so on. And in order to shine or perform well in all of these steps of this process, it's important to know thyself, which means knowing your team and your ecosystem. So when it comes to the team, we must be at least to some degree aware what we can do. So we must understand the team capabilities and the experience. You don't have to remember everything as a developer, but at least it's a very good, very beneficial to have the general idea what your teammates are skilled with. If you are a part of the company, it's very good to have a range of case studies. Probably most companies have a range of case studies, or at least the list of customers they worked with, and it's promoted on the website or some promo materials. But it's nice as a developer to also at least remember some of them, so you can just throw some names during the meeting and just show that, well, what your company has done nicely and what the technology was used there and how it was used. Because again, as a developer, you have this nice position that not only you will be aware about the names of these customers, but you have the capability to understand what was actually done for these customers and explain it well to the potential, to the prospect. And also third-party cases, so any cases of other companies that are using this technology, not necessarily tied to your company in any way. They don't have to be your customer, just examples of the good application of the technology. And here they are. So I borrowed this just some examples from the blog posts from our website. So here are the long addresses. If you wish, the QR codes are actually these addresses here. So it's good to always nice to mention big players. Obviously if the customer doesn't know them already. So for Erlang, let's say WhatsApp, that's a famous example. Great to bring up Cisco, Bet365, but with betting you have to be careful, because sometimes I've heard the feedback that it's very risky to mention betting customers because, well, it's morally gray area. So you have to be careful which actually companies or verticals you are mentioning. Just match them to your target audience. Baxter, Welfare Company, Vocalink, Finance, Elixir, Bleacher Report, Square Enix, Gaming, Discord, Gaming again, Toyota, probably you know that, PepsiCo probably as well. Many more in these blog posts. Also, you can find more examples online. These are just suggestions. So the takeaways from this part of the presentation. I mentioned providing the tools to your team. So this is a very important point. Empower your team with the tools to do their job. And again, as a developer, you have this great position to understand the low-level stuff, and with a bit of creativity, you can wrap it with some nice metaphors or graphs, descriptions, stories, whatever, that help understand the low-level stuff to your colleagues that do not necessarily deal with the technical details. Document everything, really. Many developers don't like documentation. Actually, I like writing documentation. I'm strange, I know. But it's really critical. Too many things, too many thoughts or arrangements get lost in some some discussions that are only vocal, and well, if they are not written down, well, it's too easy to forget them, really. It's about this point is about the shaping the message. So make sure that your point and everything that you can do is shaped for the ears for your interlocutor, let's say. So you promote your product. You tell about its great aspects, great things, benefits, but at the same time, be transparent, and also tell the customer what they want to know, not only you wish them to know. Saying it again, one voice, really. It may sound really plain and mundane, but don't arguing with your colleague during a discussion with a customer, or just constantly telling that something they told something incorrect, or that's not right, and so on, is simply unprofessional, really, and well, doesn't look well. And remember the examples. Remember, you don't have to use the ones that I've presented. There are many of them, not only like the global ones, let's say, not from the whole world of Erlang or Elixir or other languages, but for your own company. So big names, big applications always make a good impression. And that's all. Thank you. Any questions? Bartek.
I have two things to say, so I raise both hands. Do I need a mic? Do I need a mic? No.
Should I?
So I thought about one more selling point for Erlang, because there's a buzzword that always goes down well with managers, which is microservices. Most of them may not know what it means, but it's like, we don't know what to do, let's do microservices. Because monolithic is bad, everybody knows that. So we can say that Erlang has microservices inside it. Because it does. And the other thing is, there is one thing that I think we can learn from, I'm sorry to say, but from politicians. Because as much as I hate these bastards, they have one cool thing. They never get defensive. I mean, no matter how hard you press them, they always manage to turn the conversation around to their advantage. And this is something that we probably should practice. And I mean something like, if someone tells you, oh, well, Erlang is an obscure language, there's no developers available, it's no use. I don't know, I think we can bat it back by saying something like, it's a specialist language, and people who use Erlang, they are very good in their trade. There's many Node.js programmers. I don't want to offend anybody, but there's many of them are really poor. There are no poor Erlang programmers. Something like this. So
and no poor politicians.
Sorry?
No poor politicians.
They're
always rich.
At least according to the financial statements, they are poor, but...
I know. So we don't start to explain, oh, well, you're not right, it's not that obscure, there are some... No, we say, no matter how many they are very good. Something like this, maybe someone comes up with something better.
I definitely agree. It's all about this shaping the message. So shape the message so it benefits you, so it's positive, and don't really, like Bartek said, don't try to go into this defensive stance. You are positive about what you do. You're not trying to explain yourself and try to like discuss whether it's obscure language or not. It's a great language, not obscure language. You just want to deliver this message to your customer. Anyone else?
Yeah, my problem is that my CTO, my problem is exactly the opposite. We already use Elixir as a company, but our CTO likes revolutions and makes revolutions every now and then. And recently on Twitter, he saw rewrite everything in Rust. And I'm thinking now, how can you tell someone that already saw what Elixir delivers that maybe it's still better technology than something that has really a lot of buzz around it?
Well, I suppose that probably we should mention money and rewriting everything. Well, it's a cost of development itself, and it's also what's important to business. Might not be necessarily important for CTO because they are tech enthusiasts and want to try something new, but could be actually, probably is very important to other business people, CEOs and CFOs and so on, that will it actually have any measurable benefits in terms of costs? For example, will it bring more customers? Will it lower the operational cost? Will we need less servers? Will we need smaller servers or maybe less infrastructure? If not, if there is no incentive of, the possibility of reducing costs, I suppose that CTO might be alone in this discussion. I know it's brutal, but let's be frank. In the business world, money rules maybe not everything, but a lot.
I mean, you could tell all of those things about Rust, right? Because
But you already have the product, right?
Yeah.
So it's a matter of what.
Elixir programmers, you already have programmers. Why would you?
So it's a matter of.
Yeah.
It's a matter of question of return of investment. Will the investment be profitable? Because you have to invest in rewrite, in probably new developers or reskilling the existing ones, and will it eventually turn into higher revenue, for example? Because rewriting for sake of rewriting, sorry, but it's usually it's ridiculed as junior stuff, right? Because it's a common joke that junior developers want to rewrite everything. Absolutely no offense to junior developers, but I've been there myself. We all been there. That as a junior, everything seems simpler. Let's say. So, so that would be my conclusion. In terms of technology, he is convinced that Rust would be better, and he has arguments for it. Well, if it was a hobby project, sure, why not? Go, Pal, you can just rewrite it and do it, and don't care about anyone else. But it's a business, so in case of the business, you also have to consider the costs and the revenue and so on. Here's a question.
Just talking about the same, about moving from Erlang to Rust. There is a lot of pain moving to Rust. But Rust is clearly better in some places where you are CPU bound.
Yeah, sure.
And maybe it makes sense, some parts of the system really CPU bound, put that in a dynamic DLL or something like that, and keep Rust confined there, and let Erlang what Erlang does well.
Yeah, obviously also the technologies can be combined, right? The right tool for the right job.
Yeah, something like that.
Bartek?
Again, about what Tomek said about the rewriting in something the same or another language. Probably the rationale for a rewrite is that they want to get rid of the issues they are currently having. But they seem to forget that creating new code base means creating new issues, probably even more serious than the old ones, because they are not known yet.
Yeah, but Erlang has a lot of
So yeah, I would say that actually, if besides this willingness to just do the rewrite for maybe I don't know for out of curiosity or fun, if there's actually good reason to do that, because it will solve problems. Of course, yeah, it can bring another new problems to the table, but if it's like the outcome overall will be positive. Actually, well, maybe not opposite. Sure, maybe. Yeah, here, a question?
One more comment, I think, more than question, about the power of metaphors or maybe examples, actually. I heard it on Syntax podcast for the first time, and I kind of agree. It's like not only for customers, it's sometimes even for us, for the programmers. When you explain really technical things, right, like code examples, there's this school of thought that because this is like an abstract, I'm explaining a syntax to you, I will use full bar pass as variable names, right? Let's not do this. Let's instead put like actual names like products, people, user, name, address, whatever. And this way the example is much more understandable, even if the whole thing is about like completely abstract syntax or whatever. Because yeah, we think in stories, we think in like examples, we think in not abstracts, we think in concrete situations much better than even if you explain an abstract thing, explaining it on a concrete example would be much better.
Yes, that's right. Thank you. Okay, any other comments or questions? None? So, yeah, thank you again.